Hello. Hello, Karen.
Hello.
Hey, Randy.
Hello.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Doing good.
Good.
So I'm just going to start with probably some of the big updates that everybody's interested in. We've spent a lot of time this week looking at the change to the 4-day model. So we've been working a lot on scheduling and reallocating staff and everything that entails. Looking at who's going to have to move to different spaces in the room. I can tell you that we have ordered all of the desks that we need. The estimated shipping time for those is they gave us 16 to 19 days. That should put us someplace around that November 2nd week, but we're not going to say exactly which days the moving days are going to be until we get a better idea from the company about when they're actually going to show up, so that we can time that really well. And some of the staffing things go into, not just making sure that we have enough staff everywhere, but also making sure that if we have changes with our IEP students or 504 students who have paraprofessionals, that all of that's taken care of. So we've been working very hard on that this week, and it's starting to take shape, which is great. In addition to that, one thing that I'm getting a lot of questions about right now are the holidays. What's going to happen around Thanksgiving and Christmas and traveling. And I know that people have asked about different districts around us who might be making different decisions about going remote at that time. I can just tell you that we've made no decisions about the holidays, and the information that I'm getting from the state is that they are going to be putting out, I don't know if it's new guidance or revised guidance or something that's coming. So I don't want to make any decisions or even start discussions about that until we see if the New Hampshire Department of Health and Human Services or the DOE is going to be making a change. So right now we're going to wait and see what they send us. We do have 2 additional paraprofessional positions that are being advertised. There are a lot of districts who are advertising for additional staff right now. We really would, I know a lot of you have asked us in different ways that you can help. We really would appreciate your help if you know of anybody who might be a wonderful para, either a regular education para in a classroom, or maybe a one-on-one para working with a student. I think word of mouth is always a good thing. So if you know of somebody who might be interested in applying, please direct them towards JVS. Let's see, Kristen, how are things with you?
Things are good. You said almost everything that I have on my list. So I was going to talk about, we've been working really hard in the building on scheduling and allocating for building use, room allocations for when we do get to go 4 days. In doing so, staffing is tight. And I was going to mention also that we posted for the 2 paras and encourage people to encourage others to apply for those jobs. We did hire another sub. So that's exciting. And it's, she gets to have her first day tomorrow, which is quick and nice. But so I was really happy to have that. And then just to remember to get those commitments in. That's all I had on my list.
Thanks. We're still missing, I think, 70 commitment forms, which is pretty big when we're looking at trying to figure out where everybody needs to be. So if you can please make sure you get those to us by tomorrow, we appreciate it. Randy, how are you?
I'm good. Things seem to be going pretty well on the tech front overall. Most of the technical questions have sort of trailed off, so I think most people are working pretty well, which is good news. I think the one thing I'm starting to think about here is what impact going to 4 days will be on technology. I think it's actually going to be not that different from the way that things are going now. And we had some discussion about, well, gee, should the kids bring all the computers back? And should we just start, keeping them the way we used to keep them when it was 5 days? And I think in the end, we decided that we're really basically just going to keep things exactly the way they are right now. And the main reason for that is there's so much uncertainty about whether we might have either on an individual basis or a group basis, students who are out for whatever reason. And so I think our plan is going to be for the 4 days for people to continue to bring their charged computers in the morning and take them home with them at night at the end of the day and plug them in and charge them at home as well. Since we still have the remote day on Wednesday, people will definitely need them that day. And I think people have gotten into the habit of that, so I don't think that's going to be disruptive at all. I think people are used to doing it. I think it'll just be part of the same routine that they're already doing. So other than that, I don't really have very much to talk about tonight.
I'm just going to piggyback on what you said, Randy. And another reason is, in case you didn't see it in my last week's newsletter, but snow days will be a little different this year too. So if we make a call when we know a snowstorm is coming before 1 p.m. the day before and say that if we have a snow day, it'll be an instructional day, that's another great reason to keep in those habits of keeping everything going home and keeping everything charged and just being ready to, change course if we need to, and have, now that we know we have that remote instruction ability, it's a way to get another instructional day. There will still be snow days, however. So if it's a storm, we don't really know what's going to happen, or if we have to make that 4:30 a.m. call, and if we haven't given everybody an advance notice, if we do cancel school, it's actually one of those good old-fashioned snow days.
I think that the two main reasons I wanted to bring things back into the school was, one, just less wear and tear overall on the devices themselves, and two was that students would have no incentive to do things other than schoolwork on their computers if they were just at school. So anyway, those are the two things actually that the people on this call that we're talking to can help me with a lot, which is to make sure that they understand when they're taking those computers home, those are school property and they need to treat them, as best they possibly can. And also to remember to stay engaged in what your kids are doing online, both with their school equipment and with other things too, so that people stay where they're supposed to be and doing things that are appropriate.
Thanks. Karen.
I have a question on the snow days. So I know Kearsarge does the snow bags, and I think that I've heard they have to turn in 99% of the paper or the work that was done that day to get credit for the day. Is that going to be for us too, or?
No, basically it goes to remote instruction, which did not have to have that percentage threshold that was in that law at the time. So we will treat it the same way that we've treated attendance and participation for any other remote instructional day that we've had. Okay.
And then for me, my update is always the same, I think. I was working on attendance this morning till 11:30. It's taking forever with calling parents that have forgotten to do the back to school self-assessment. If I can't reach the parents, I'm calling the kids in to ask them the questions. If your kid is absent on an in-person day, please have them touch base with their remote facilitator because they can get credit for the day. But so I'm going back and forth with the remote facilitators, making sure that they know who's absent from in-person, and if they see that person, then I can change it in Power School that they're working remotely today. I think that's pretty much it for me.
Sydney, I just got reminded by listening to Karen that there is one other little thing on my plate, which is that I think Convenient MD is updating their software, which is our daily check-in thing. I don't know that it's going to change the look or the feel or anything about it. My understanding is it's going to keep the same link that we've had. For the end users, things should pretty much be the same, but there's a possibility it might have a slightly different look or something the next time people go in. I don't think it's going to affect things tomorrow, but more next week is when I think the new software kicks in. So it's giving us a few new features that'll help us on our management end. But anyway, I just want to put that out there in case everything looks totally weird next time we log in. I've given you a little bit of fair warning.
Do we have to download a new link to it?
I don't think so. I think the links are all the same. Everybody who made the shortcut on their phone should all be the same. And if it's not, I'm going to be really mad at the Convenient MD people. So I think it's all fine. And I think they understand that. And I think they thought about that when they were rolling it out.
So Sydney, can I answer this from chat?
Sure, go for it.
So Mr. Metzler said, I received a letter today referencing a student teacher in my child's classroom, of which I was not aware. I am concerned about how this was communicated. Maybe I missed a communication, and also what that means about potential exposure. Could you please speak to what the plan is with student teachers, i.e. are they completing the health screenings, and how do we know about people who may be coming in and out of the school? A student teacher is pretty much just like a staff member that we don't pay. It's a huge blessing for your child's class. That's another adult. She comes every single day. She stays for the day. It's just like having another teacher or another paraprofessional in the classroom. She does do the health screening every day. And the people who work in the building are really the only people who are coming into the building. And everyone who works at the building who comes in, whether they be a staff member or a contracted service provider, everyone's doing the health screening.
Next thing in the chat is, do we know how teachers will handle days when kids are inevitably out and missing a day with all kids on same 4-day model? Will remote facilitator be check in person still? No, because all of our remote facilitators need to come back to the building to be able to have enough staff to do the 4-day model. So you will be getting work from your child's teacher. And we do realize that people will have to be out quarantining, and we're starting to see that happen in some schools around us. So that's going to be coordinated through the classroom teacher. But for us to be able to open in the 4-day, we have to have all hands on deck. We have to have everybody in the building.
And we have already started thinking about what will that look like? How will teachers have the time to prepare that? Wednesdays are going to be a big part of the opportunity for them to be able to prepare for the just in case scenarios. But it's on everyone's mind for sure.
Any other questions tonight?
How's the survey going? Did you get any more responses after it was emailed out again today?
After the reminder, I got more. We're down about 70 right now. So we still need information for about 70 students, which is still a big number because, you know, we look at those numbers of who's coming back to figure out our spaces. So hopefully everybody will get them in by tomorrow. We can have that all settled.
And in the Q&A, any idea how the parent-teacher conferences will work the first week of November? So thank you for asking that. That's actually something that's going to be coming out tomorrow in my newsletter. But we potentially, again, there's still a lot of unknowns, I feel. That week that we had slated for parent-teacher conferences is right around the same time we were working on moving to the 4-day model and having to change classrooms around. Talking to the teachers and some parents, it sounds like there's been continuous ongoing communication with families. And so what we thought we would do is open it up more as an optional parent-teacher conference on it didn't have to be on those days. It will be on a Wednesday. We'll slate with no meetings for teachers so that they have the opportunity. A parent could request that they want to have a meeting with the teacher, or the teacher could request that they want to have a meeting with the parent, but it won't be as formal as it has been in the past that all parents come in and meet.
Yeah, just to add one thing to that is that not too long ago, right before we were opening up, all teachers had a conference with parents, which is something that we haven't done in the past. So every teacher did just be able to, you know, before we started, have that one-on-one time. And not to say that you might not want that again, but between that and a lot more contact via Zoom than we've usually had, we want to make sure that conferences are available for anybody who needs them. But if you feel that you don't need one right now, that's okay, because we're connecting all the time anyway. Another question, what will happen with cohort days with moving week and days off? It's going to depend on when we decide those moving days are. So we will need at least 2 days where we have to close the building to be able to move and move classrooms and get everybody resituated. And again, I'm going to make that recommendation to the board as we get a little bit closer, because we really do have to time it with when all the new furniture and desks are arriving. So if you can just stay tuned, we'll get that information to you as fast as possible. And are we going to get formalized feedback about Kinder's speech and OT screenings? And Kristen, are those all finished already?
Speech and OT, I believe they are all finished. Because I've never been part of the kinder screening in the past, my understanding is that the kindergarten teachers will generally reach out to parents, but if they haven't and you'd like information, by all means reach out to the kindergarten teacher. And for cohort B, picture day is tomorrow. That's an important reminder.
And it is just cohort B tomorrow, no cohort A.
No. But we did have a cohort B party this morning in the office.
Okay, it looks like the chat and questions are slowing down a little bit. One quick final thing that you'll see in my newsletter tomorrow is I'm going to be having focus groups for our principal search committee. So there'll be links to those, and you can join any one that you want to join. There's no set time. They're all open. I'm going to be there, and we'll be gathering information to go through that process. So just stay tuned for those dates, and try and pick a time next week where you can join in on one of those Zooms. And we have a thank you for taking the time to be here tonight and for all that you're doing. You are welcome. We're making it happen. And we're tired. So we can admit that we're tired too. So since it's slowing down, it might be a good time to say goodnight then. All right. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks for being here, and fill out your health screening in the morning and fill out your commitment form for your kids, and we'll keep planning and getting everything ready. Thanks. Good night.
Good night.